people I couldn't see knew all about me, my blackest secrets, my entire history, that I was a depraved alcoholic, the worst that ever lived. 2 blocks to go. The booze. I couldn't let myself think about it. I took deep breaths. I tried to concentrate on something. I made myself stop and pet a cat. I prayed, Jesus, let me make it to the store. My hands were clammy. I was starting to sweat, and my mouth was totally dry. I was so scared. What if I lost control, flipped out, and started to scream? Each thought was worse than the one before it. I just kept forcing them back down again. Why did I have to be this way? The store was at a major intersection. Whatsa Vista Avenue and 3 Millionth Street stretched away in that uncompromising LA perspective that implies, if not infinity, then at least the curvature of the earth. Uncounted liquor stores, Jack-in-the-Boxes, 7-Elevens, topless bars, and rent-to-own furniture marts serviced hundreds of characterless towns, just like Buena Park. A faint smog hung over everything, an atmosphere of boredom and menace. I bought a half-pint of tequila and stayed to chat a while with the owners just to show how in control I was. In fact, there would have to have been blind men not to notice that my hands were shaking when I handed them the money. They probably knew my whole story. They could tell how ashamed I was. So what? Liquor store clerks are probably sworn to silence, like priests. Next door, there was a topless bar, the Club Heaven. Sometimes I stopped in there for an eye-opener, but the dancers were floppy-breasted and middle-aged, and there were more hookers than clients. Maybe I could get all the way back to the Alvarados without opening the half-pint and taking an embarrassing first hit in public. Besides, as I headed back down the block, my hands were shaking too violently to open the bottle. I'd drop it on the sidewalk. The neat little half-pint, so inconspicuous and sophisticated, was snug in my hip pocket. One of the whores in front of the Club Heaven yelled after me, "Hey, Whitey, want a date?" A lowrider cruised slowly by, full of tough-looking kids. Mexican gangs shooting from cars supposedly killed somebody nearly every day, and had shot a 3-year-old girl not far from the Alvarados the week I moved in. She had wandered in front of a shotgun aimed at somebody else. In the heat, the air seemed to have no oxygen. This featureless city, 1,000 suburbs stitched together, stretched out around me. I felt unconnected to any of it. I had traveled maybe half a block before I stopped, willed my hands to be fairly still, and twisted off the screw top. I took a big hit and jammed the bottle back out of sight as fast as I could, hoping nobody had noticed. If only I could shoot the stuff into my arm and not have to wait for the booze to take effect. I was panicked that the stuff wouldn't start to work on me before I went nuts. What had I gotten into? How could I be so scared? But seconds later, I didn't have a problem. I could feel the warmth coming through my body. The noise was turning down in my mind. The faces were pulling away from all the windows. Walking back to the house, I did not feel quite normal yet, but the edge was off. I was hoping to get back quickly so I could take a second shot. Then I'd be steady enough to light a cigarette. At the house, the sound of a ghetto blaster playing Whitebird by the hippie uplift group It's a Beautiful Day announced that Teresa Terry Alvarado was back for lunch. I didn't like Terry. The Alvarado's teenage daughter was a self-confident little number who probably thought I was a bum mooching off the household, when in fact I was paying room and board and helping her father, Jesus, rebuild his boat. I went into the bathroom and filled a glass with water. I pulled my hooch, took a snort, then took a little shot of water and another great big hit of tequila. Now I was feeling good enough to go out front and say hello to Terry, and a cutie pie Anglo friend of hers, who looked up at me with a big smile and said, "Hi, hear you're from Oregon. How you doing?" But I didn't try to hit on her. It was time to hop into my Volkswagen and set out on the job hunt. Business first. It was really hard being alone down here. Maybe a little detour to the beach would cheer me up. I felt guilty about driving while loaded, but any second the Mexicans might whip around the corner and blow me out of the driver's seat with a Gatling gun. I had to keep a little close.